anybody studies the history of the persecution, they'd find that it was mostly Christian European countries that persecuted Jews way more than Muslim Arab countries or any countries in the Middle East. When you the
Yeah.
history of the persecution, the being expelled, the Holocaust. I mean, the variety of persecutions that happened, even from being, expelled from the homeland, was done by the Roman Empire. I mean, it was there was there Jews historically have been less safe within Christian Western society than within Muslim and Middle Eastern society. That is just historical fact when you read through history. But there's this idea that no, Jews are not safe with the Muslims, but in reality, Jews have been actually historically much safer with the Muslims. I do want to get into
Can I say
yeah.
something to that? Because I
Hmm.
think it's a really important point that you're making. Because I think one of the tropes that I hear a lot, and it really troubles me, is this idea that the Muslims want to kill all the Jews. And it's just so untrue. First of all, the Muslims have to believe in all the Jewish prophets. It's actually an obligation. So we believe that the Bani Israel are children of prophets, like they are actually children. We call them ashraf in our tradition, the children of the Prophet Muhammad, the descendants. They're the honored ones, and so every true Muslim would only have goodwill towards the children of prophets and would want the best for them. And so I think a lot of what's happened is because of the politics, it's really tainted everything. And I mean, I see, if they have these things called the oppression Olympics, who
Right.
gets the gold, who
Mhm.
get, I mean, I think the Jews would win the gold medal every time historically. If you look at the Irish are up there too, it's about over 700 years. The Black Africans that were brought as slaves, the Native Americans. I mean, there's a lot of people that have very difficult narratives that are quite tragic. But to see, because Muslims were always the ones that welcomed the Jewish community when they were persecuted. They went to Morocco when they were persecuted in Spain. They went to Tunisia. The Ottomans, they went to the Ottomans built for them synagogues. So I think it's very painful for Muslims to see that because I think there is a sense. And to be honest with you, I mean, there are incredible Jewish scholars of Islam. I mean, there are really amazing scholars that also recognize how incredible Islamic civilization is. When you have people like Len Goodman, Dr. Len Goodman, he's a brilliant scholar of Islam who's written beautiful works on Islamic humanism, on Avicenna. A Jewish man who died was in a time when there was animus between the Jews and the Muslims in Medina, because the Jewish community supported the Persians against the Christians, and the Muslims supported the Christians when they were fighting in that war. But a Jewish funeral passed by, and this is in a very sound tradition in our faith, and the prophet got up, and one of his companions said, "It's a Jew," and he said, and I can sense that he said it with some, just strongly or sternly. He said, "Isn't it a human soul?" So he was honoring the Jewish soul going back to its Lord. And I think that is what's really lacking, is just recognizing that we're all ensouled beings, that we all have as much right to be here as everybody else. The Muslims always lived with the Jews. They always shared with the Jews. But I think, what's happened is this idea is that you can't just take our land and expect us to be happy about it. It's the same with the Irish. When the English came in with the Ulster plantation, they brought all these people from outside and just brought them into Ireland, and that's created immense trauma and a lot of civil strife until now.